Greetings, welcome, event professionals across the valley. We are pleased to present Pearl, Lady Jewel, who is going to tell us all we need to know about moving our calendar online. This young lady is thoroughly engrossed in everything that is digital. Yes, it's true. She's a great event planner and you should hire her for all of your corporate events. But that aside, anytime you have the need for anything that is digital in your world, Pearl is the answer. She has training classes, a plethora of training classes. She's going to talk about some of them today, but ultimately she's here to help us move our calendar online and why. So without further ado, I will be quiet and say welcome, Pearl, to Event Ensemble.
Thank you for having me, Scott. I'm excited. It's wonderful to see everyone and all your smiling faces online. In case you don't know, again, my name is Pearl of Lady Jewel. And today we are going to be talking about moving your calendar online. And I'm going to go ahead and close this out.
She went ooh because I changed the view. I pen spotted her and everything went topsy-turvy for her a moment. So we'll let her collect herself.
No worries. You can chat amongst yourself. I'm just going to go ahead and reopen my presentation. But I'm excited. My first question, I'm going to just go ahead and we're going to talk about what we're going to be covering today. Okay.
So where is your calendar, people? Is it online? Is it on paper? That's the first question.
It will be the first question.
Well, but I'm here for you until you catch up with the conversation.
I'm going to do a quick, it was my own fault. I'm going to do a quick overview of what we're going to cover today. So everyone knows that. And then we're going to go to the question. That's why I was like, what did I do? Now I remember what I did. But today we're going to cover a few things. We're going to cover pros and cons of having your calendar online. We're going to talk about the difference between a calendar and booking system. We're going to talk about your options. Well, there are a lot of options, so some of my top hits. And we are going to actually set one of your calendars so you can see how it works and how easy it can be. And then the options and opportunities you have to learn more. It's a lot we're going to cover. I know that. So if people want my presentation or the notes or recording this, let me know. And if I'm speaking really fast, just drop it in the chat and either Jerice or Scott will let me know to slow down because I'm going to try to cover a lot today. And then just because there are a lot of you who already are online and use Calendly, we're going to have any specific questions about Calendly. So if you already have questions about it, go ahead and drop it into the chat now. That way we can have that when we get that ready. And Ms. Diane looks like she's raised her hand already. Did you have a question? You can unmute yourself, Ms. Diane, if you have a quick question. I'm not seeing chat, so if you're putting it into chat, Scott or Jerice will have to let me know.
Okay. That was my question, is you want it in chat, correct?
Yes, please.
Chat.
Okay.
Please, because they're watching it for me. Okay, so here is the question. First question, where is your calendar right now? Is it paper? Is it a wall calendar? Is it digital? Where do you have your calendar right now? I'm kind of curious. Go ahead and drop the answer into the chat for me. So I can know where you are. Is it a hybrid, right? Some of it's on a paper calendar and some of it's digital. Scott, Jerice, what are we seeing in the chat there?
Paper, somebody has a wall calendar and digital, lots of Google calendars.
Don't laugh at wall calendars.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I am not laughing at wall calendars. I love it. My mom has a wall calendar. I see it every day.
more Google calendars as well. And whoa, a kindred spirit, somebody who has multiple calendars, Pearl.
Yes, I love it. We're going to talk about that. So I'm excited. But what I anticipated, a mix from paper all the way to digital.
We have a Google and an Apple too, for one person.
Google and Apple. I feel so bad. I do know a little bit about Apple, but I am a PC Android gal. I know that I'm sure getting some death threats from some people and some cheers. At least I got a cheer from David. So yay, we'll go with that.
Stacy is paper all the way.
Paper all the way. Well, Lacey,
Yeah,
this
both
is
on her desk and in her purse.
I love it. Lacey, well, this is a great place I'm going to stop sharing for a moment because I want to tell you a story. I know that Scott just said that I'm all about technology, and it is true. But what you may not know is I wasn't always on technology. In fact, up until about 4 years ago, I was a paper gal. I have had a planner since I was in middle school. Why? Well, quite frankly, I forget things. Here is my Franklin Covey planner system. Anyone remember Franklin Covey?
You're not old enough for Franklin Covey, Pearl.
I am not only am I old enough, this is one of two. I had two of them.
Bill's getting
I
really
had one for my
excited.
work, and then this one's my personal Franklin Covey planner. And I had everything in here. I had my goals. I see yours, David. I had my goals. I had my morning schedule, my afternoon schedule. I had my budget. If it wasn't in, it was called the little black book. My friends would be like, Pearl, did you put me in your little black book? And I'm like, yes, you're in, or no, you're not. If it wasn't in here, it didn't exist. This was my life. And I tell you that to let you know that I didn't start digital. I transitioned. About 2012, I started adding digital into my world, and I had a hybrid world. And then what happened to tip me over the edge? I triple booked myself one day. I was in the middle with a client booking something. I had put out my calendar link out on my booking system on my Facebook page, and someone booked me. And then something else, I had forgotten that I had already booked that time with someone else. And voila, I had triple booked myself. And now I was at a crossroads. I had a decision I had to make going, okay, well, which direction am I going to go? I'm a business owner now, and I want people to have the convenience of being able to book my time. But that means I have to now have all of my time in one place, in one view. And that is what pushed me over to going into the digital space completely and only. But I still love my Franklin Covey planner, and there's still times I want to hug and kiss it because I miss it.
And for those of you, sorry, Pearl, for those of you who think that she's that mature that she would not know what a Franklin Covey planner is, note that she said Franklin Covey. She didn't say Franklin, which was the original name, which really takes you back.
Oh dear.
Like 25 or 30 years, Scott.
Thank you very much, Mr. Layton.
Mine's right here.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So I also say that because I wanted to let you know that if I can do it, so can you. Like, you just heard my story, right? So a lot of times I said that we were going to talk about pros and cons. And when I was starting to do that, those pros and cons, I realized there really aren't any cons. What happens is there are a lot of objections, which I understand. So we're going to start going through some of those objections. One of the biggest objections I have is I need a planner. I need to touch, I need to feel it, and I understand that. But when you need access quickly, I mean, you saw my Franklin Covey, it was not a lightweight thing. So it's harder. I mean, right now we tend to be a little bit more home, but I was traveling to meetings all the time. So I was carrying what felt like a luggage rack of things with me after a while. Whereas my phone is a lot easier for me to carry. I have to write things down to remember them. I am that person. That's how I actually started doing planners, is because it was a way, me writing something down was a way for me to be able to actually, it made that connection to write it down. Depending on your phone and how it's set up, you can actually set it up where you can hear yourself typing and writing. And I've noticed that it actually does the same thing, whether it's on your tablet, your computer, or on your phone. Another objection is I need to see it. And what I mean by that is people are like, I need to see a month view. I need to see a week view. I need to be able to see my life. Well, you can actually set up your calendars, your booking system, so you can see those views. So you don't lose that access, but it's a whole lot more portable. I have a lot of calendars I need to keep track of. And I heard one of the in the chat, someone had said, I have several calendars. Well, right now, I don't know who has the max. I'm going to tell you, I have 14 calendars that are all synced up into one calendar. So if anyone has more than 14 calendars, put it in the chat because I want to chat with you. But you can sync all your calendars together so you can still see them all in one view, whether it's your children's practice schedule, whether it's your business, your personal job, you can create these calendars, sync them all in one view and have it so you can see. It's hard to set up. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If you're not used to it, you're not comfortable with it, that's why you're here, to learn about it. That's why I'll give you other options. You can work with someone like me, you can work with a friend who does it, but we're here to make it so it's not so hard to set up. Any questions so far, Scott, or I'm going to keep on going?
A lot going on. So first of all, Sandra wants to know why in the world you would have 14 calendars and for what purpose. But before you answer that, it ties in nicely with Stephanie, who manages multiple calendars for multiple teams, and she wants to keep some of the information private and some of it available to other members who need to see the full calendar. So that might help you as you go along.
Yes, and so the reason I have different calendars, Sandra, is because I'm part of different organizations. So for example, I was part of the planning team for the last 2 years for a group called Phoenix Southwest. Just to say I was part of an organization and a specific calendar for that organization. So I had access to it. And this goes into the next question, where I just had it as one of the calendars on that I had access to. And so I could see it on my main calendar. I synced it up together. And that's how you would be able to do that. For who was the person who asked about keeping
the teams,
calendars for multiple teams? Miss Stephanie, we can talk offline privately, but you can do that. You can have the different calendars and you can do different settings per person of what they can see on each calendar. So if some people just need to see blocked times, you can set it up that way. And if some people need to actually see the content of the calendar and not just the blocked times, you can set it up and you can do it individually by person.
And when you see Pearl's calendar, because I got a sneak peek at it, just like Samara, you'll be able to see that a lot of it is color coded.
Yes, and you can make it personal. All right, so we've talked about calendars, but we're really talking about booking system. A calendar is a way to track your time. Yes, there's a Webster dictionary version, but really for our purposes, a calendar is a way to track your time. And so something like Google or Outlook, Yahoo, iCal, Samsung, your Android phones, those are all calendars. It's a way to track your time. What we are talking about today, though, is a booking system, which is an organized way to track your time, preferably in an automated way. So it's more than just, hey, I have these appointments. Booking systems give you flexibility. And what I mean is David has used my system, Scott is, I will send you a link. Here's my calendar. We talked about let's setting up a meeting. Great, here's my calendar. Pick the best time that works for you. And then it'll show up on my calendar automatically. And we don't have to do, I mean, how many of you enjoy doing the 10 email back and forth or the 10 texts to set up a time with your family, your friend, or your client? Any hands raised, Scott? Anyone?
All over the place, all over the place.
We don't like doing that. This gives you that flexibility and ability to not have to do that. You can also have, in my case, my booking system covers my whole life. Now, you may not want that. You could maybe want to keep your personal life still paper, but your business definitely, which is what we're talking about, highly suggest making go online. But it gives you that option where you can do business, personal, you can do it all. Back to Stephanie's questions, teams, contract workers, you can now have a system where you can do the booking for all of your teams, for all of your contract workers, and you still have view and access to all of that. If you have packages, you're able to now, depending on the system that you go with, you're able to have your packages there. People are able to purchase it, book the time with the team member that they need to, and pay it all right there. So it really starts to streamline your process. And as we mentioned, payment options, you're able to make those payments right there. Your clients are able to make those payments right there, whether it's a deposit or the full payment. And it's all in one system and it's showing up on your calendar. Hey, this person booked with this people. This is their package they paid. I don't know about you, but I mean, I love time-saving options. Scott, anything I should be hearing about?
No, carry on with my
All right.
blessings. You're doing great.
So here are some and we're going to
Pearl,
actually talk about
pause.
these.
Everybody smile. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Carry on.
Here's just some quick examples of booking systems. There's Schedulity, Fargo, we're going to talk about that. Acuity, we're going to talk about that. Calendly, a lot of you have probably heard of that, possibly. But when you're, and we're going to talk about that right now, those options, when you're looking at those options, you're thinking, what do I want? You know, we went through all of those different things you should be thinking about for a booking system. Now, Google Calendar is a calendar. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to show you a couple of things. You're actually going to see my calendar here in about a second. Sure. So everyone, welcome to my calendar. And as you can see, it's a lot. And Samara, when you said, here are all my different calendars right here that are attached, because I have a lot of links to this calendar, but it shows up all in one view. And I like seeing my week. And they're color coded, paid depending on what it is. Now, the reason I took you here though, is because a lot of you use Google Calendar. That is a calendar and not a booking system. However, Google understands that people are starting to use their calendar or would like to use their calendar system. So there's a couple of things that you can do. There we go. Right here, appointment slots. So I'm just going to show it to you very quickly. If you click on appointment slots, what you can do, think of it as teachers doing office hours. So you can set a time range, say 4 hours, and then each slot is 30 minutes and you can send it out and people can sign up for those slots up within that parameters. So that's a way to start kind of the four-way into a booking system. There are also add-ons that you can now utilize that work to turn Google Calendar into a booking system, even though it is not one. Yes, sir.
Did you read my face that quick? I thought you were too busy talking about everything else. I just wanted to say for David, who has teams that he schedules for performances, he's probably not interested in any needs for booking because they're not paying him anything, he's paying them. Is there any way to flip that where the booking system could actually work to not only schedule, but also for him to pay his staff or his team?
There probably is. We'd have to, that would be a more one-on-one with David and I sitting, I'm assuming Mr. Hoyt, David.
Yes.
There are quite a few. So I was like, let me, and I saw David Twigger. So I was like, I don't think that's the David he's talking about.
Different David.
So Mr. Hoyt, so there is a way to do that, but we'd have to sit down and talk about different systems. Some of the systems I'm talking about, these are kind of the bigger ones depending on what area you are, but there are like 30 different systems. So we would be able to find something that would work best for your business, David.
Okay. And
Pearl, are you taking questions during the workshop or at the end?
Yes, and yes.
we're doing them
Okay.
on the fly as well, because Bill wants to know about
Yes.
his app slot with Google Works. How does he allow other people to have access to his calendar? Is that something you're going to talk about?
No, because that's a more deeper dive. And we're just trying to cover the foundations today. So Bill, I would love, and when I get to the point of if you want
Okay.
more time, I'm happy to do that. We can either set up a one-on-one time or you
Thank
can
you.
join one of my workshops. But the short answer is you would share it, and there's a way where you can click on your link, and if that's it, I can show you that really quickly. Share that over to whoever it is you need to share it to. All right, so we just talked about Google Calendar add-ons. We have Schedulity and Fargo. And yes, I'm butchering that name, but it is what it is. These two booking systems are great for all of our fabulous makeup artists. hairstylists, salons, because they were created with you in mind, are fitness people. So they understand that you have either teams or contract workers, that you have packages, that you have to align these, that you need to make payments. So if you were in one of those industries, that these were the two I would start talking with you about, of here's what you want to consider if you want to move your calendar online, so that you're working with your clients and your teams really well. And I've used them as a customer myself. So I've helped people set them up, and I've used them myself, getting my hair done, my nails done. They're fantastic. HoneyBook, how many people have or use HoneyBook in one way, shape, or form? I know Ms. Jerice does. David is shaking his head no. Anyone else?
I don't see any hands. I just see a head shaking.
Okay, well then I'll just breeze over it because Jerice and I talk a lot, so she already knows. But
Brandy said she used it in the past.
who said that?
Jerice.
Brandy said that she used it in the past. Scott.
Brandy said it.
Brandy
Oh yeah, but
says.
I know Brandy's on Refined Community, I believe now. But with HoneyBook, they have built in a booking system into it. So if you're in HoneyBook or thinking about it, that would be my suggestion for you, because it's already integrated into the system and works well for people. You can now create the same things that we're going to talk about. You can create them in HoneyBook, and it integrates very well. So if you're sending an email to a client, you literally can just drop your link to your calendar to set that appointment, and it's a great integration. Acuity is the one I use, and it is the most flexible, one of the most flexible and detailed options. And I use it because I can use it for my whole life, not only my business, my whole life. I was telling Scott that I created a family and friend calendar link. It has different parameters than everything else. And so when my friends and family want to hang out with me, I literally send them that link, and they can just book that time on my calendar. And I thought that they would think it was impersonal or that they would dislike it. They love it, because just like everyone else, you get tired of the back and forth. So now they have access to my calendar. They know it's for up to 2 hours. They find it, we book it, and I tell people if it's on my calendar, it's going to happen. And then Calendly, which I know Miss Felicia is in love with because she put it out there. And so Scott is also a fan as well. And Calendly and Acuity are a lot alike. I will say Calendly is catching up. When you do like lists for scheduling and booking top 10 lists, Acuity is one of those, Schedule Plus, a few of the other ones are in the top 10. Calendly is definitely adding a lot of pieces, and it's great. I have technically an account with Calendly, but I chose to go with Acuity when I made my decision.
And
Any
I'll just
questions?
drop in. Yeah, thank you. Perfect timing. I just wanted to add that most people use the Calendly or any of these calendar services. They use them as is out of the box. But with some, if you have a regular web designer or somebody really smart, they can actually put them into your website. So it looks like they never actually left your website, and it looks like it's your own personal proprietary calendar system. It just makes you look that much more professional.
Absolutely, they do, and it's very nice. So, and really, when it's all said and done, that's why I say these are just some of the top ones, but it's really about finding what's best for your business. And there are so many other options. So don't feel like if none of these work or you want those, that there's an system for you. There really is. I will always suggest though, try it out, because most of them have free options. So try it out, but then you're most likely going to go to at least the lowest tier paid option just to get the functionality. And they make it reasonable so you can get a lot of benefits and options based on that paid subscription. All right, guess what? Now we are going to play with someone else. I'm gonna stop sharing. And I reached out because I'm a planner, shocker, and asked a few people that I knew that were thinking about this. And Mr. Twigger was the first one who came to me first. And so we're gonna set up a few of David's appointments live. So this is gonna be fun for both of us. See how this works. But David, I need you to share your screen. Do you have Acuity up, ready to go?
Yes, ma'am. And
Fantastic.
everybody has to know that I'm like the exact opposite of Pearl. So technology is just not my thing. She already learned that from our quick call online. So this will be 100% interesting. Let me make sure I've got Acuity. Okay.
All right, so go ahead and share your screen. I know this is gonna be fun. And just so you know, I do workshops. And so this is more of a class teaching moment. But what I'm doing with David, this is what we would do in the workshop setting, where we'd set it up and we would start now working on building it on your screen.
Am I on the right
You
screen?
are on the right screen. I should have showed everyone my screen. I was like, oh, this is what it looks like before I added all the 101 different things. So this is brand new. David, have you done anything except for make sure you had an account from the last time we talked?
No. So we started that. I made sure I had an account, and then your last email, yes, I did that other part. So we're
Okay, great. So this is what I like. And for anyone, if you're not, whether you use Acuity or not, Calendly, all these systems, they're very similar in how they set up. They may be in slightly different places, but this is basically how it works. So what the first thing they're going to ask you to do is we're going to set your availability. So go ahead and click on that link, David, for number 1. Okay. And you're going to scroll down. And so this is the first thing. So right now it's default set from 9 to 5, because that's kind of the standard thing. And David is dancing. This is hysterical.
9. Come on.
Okay. But if you have different office hours, shall we say, this is where you would set them. Okay. And don't worry, you can override them for appointments. Like for my family and friends, they have different office hour settings than say for if I wanted to do a client consultation. But these are the hours you're available for set things. So you have your big general block. So like for me, my big general block is 10 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday. So David, go ahead and put yours in really quick. So this is kind of, if you don't put any parameters when you start creating your appointment settings, this is what your booking system will use when people start to book you to answer that question. So David's putting in his office hours.
Day by day, I'll just put the office hours in. And then how do we do, I don't book on Mondays, or I don't let people book on Mondays. That's more just.
Yeah, so if you don't show, when you're saying you don't book on Mondays, you're saying you're still working, but you don't want people to book. So I would take those times out of there then.
Yeah, so I mean, we're open and I work, but like Mondays are not for appointments.
Right. So I would what I would do is then I would take those time. It doesn't mean you're not available, and it's your calendar. You can override it. But like I said, this is your general. So if you don't put any parameters and you keep those hours in there, someone would be able to book you on Monday. So that's a great question.
Are they
Yeah. So
see?
as far as your calendar is concerned, I think closed, meaning I'm not going to try to book anyone on Mondays now.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So save. So go ahead and save your regular hours now. Great. Now we're going to create appointment types. And I know you said you had a few ready to go, mostly because I primed you.
Don't give it away, Pearl.
I'm being honest.
I'm like, oops, wait, do I? Yes,
You did. You had at least 4. It's like, don't hurt me now. So this is usually the next step. Okay. So now we're going to do, you can now, with Acuity, you can do a type of service or you can do a group class. I have both now. Like something like this would be a group class. But we're going to be, the ones we're going to be creating for David are as a new type of service, as we call it, but basically an appointment type that you can make. Like for me, I have, if you wanted to do a meetup, if you wanted to do a client consultation, if you wanted to do an event consultation, those are type, that's what they mean by types of appointment types of service. So David, go ahead and click. And it looks like you already did one.
No, I didn't do that.
Oh, maybe it's an example then.
I might have clicked on it like when we were playing around. Like that, so.
Got it. Okay, so let's go back then and we'll do something brand new so people can see that from the beginning.
Okay.
The appointment types can also include things like you're doing it via online or you're doing it in person.
Yes,
It might
then
include.
we're gonna get in there.
Okay, then I'll shut up again.
Okay.
Where's that mute
So-
button?
New service. So go ahead and start with the first one. What's the first one you had on your list? Fantastic. Now, so he's typing that in. So that's the title. If you want to book him for public speaking, okay. He can add a longer description if his title isn't self-evident or he wants to give some more information. The next link after that is show a message after schedule. So this is going to be after they scheduled. Thank you so much for scheduling, or here's some more information you need to know. That's where you would want to put that. Okay. But we're gonna, since we have short time, we're just gonna do just short bits, and then you can go back in and edit. Then the next one is, how long is this appointment type for? Is it 30 minutes? Is it 45? Is it 2.5 hours of someone's life? How long are you gonna have the consultation for? 30 minutes, David? Are you good with that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the next one is block off extra time before and after. Yes, you want to do that. Otherwise, what will happen is people will be able to block you back to back to back. So I say at least a minimum of 15 minutes, both buffers, as he puts in 10. That's my suggestion. It's up to you. In my calendar, I actually have 30 minutes both ways. There's a buffer 30 minutes before, a buffer 30 minutes after, because I usually like to go run to the ladies' room, eat something. And if I have another meeting, it gives me time to prep for it. So you want to make sure you give yourself those buffers. Then if there's a charge, this is where you would put that cost. Let's say you were doing a single class or consultation. For like a lot of our makeup artists and hair artists consultations, there's a small fee attached to that. So you'd put that there. If there's a picture of that service, you could upload it. Now, here's the thing. You now have the option for public and private. Here's the difference between that. Public means that if you sent your general calendar link to everyone, they would see that listed. Private means that if you selected that one, the only people that would see that option is the one that actually has that link. Because what happens is you have a general appointment page that you can have. Most people have never seen my general appointment page because I send them directly to whatever it is they're booking. But if you go to my general appointment page, about 5 of the 14 appointment types I have are listed there. Anyone can book that at any time. I wouldn't know until it showed up on my calendar. If you don't want that, then you want to make it private. Therese, did someone have a question? Or did someone
I'm totally confused. This is Sandra. I understand the difference between public and private.
Okay.
What's the purpose of separating those?
Well, okay. Great question, Sandra. The difference that separating those is what you're doing with them. So for example, on my public page, David, go ahead and stop sharing your screen really quick. And I'm going to share mine so I can show Sandra my page and show the differences. Okay. There we go. Doing a little dance. Make a little love. All right. Everyone, here is my here's mine filled out. So here are all my appointment types.
But not everybody wants to look at all of those.
Well, I don't want you to look at all of those. I don't even care about you in a gracious, kind way. I don't want you. So Sandra, these right here, first 5, and I will shoot. So here, I'm going to preview what that looks like. If I gave you just my general calendar page, this is all you would see on it. So at any time, someone can schedule a meetup with me, creative consultation, because really not a big deal. These are all private. So when I went to a bridal show, I had a specific gift that I was giving people for free, no charge. So I created a private, and the only people that got that link was the people that attended that specific bridal show. Same thing with the get to know you. This is my version of FaceTime. I didn't want anyone to be able to I already have a meetup, so I didn't really want anyone to just be able to book a get to know you time, because this has different parameters attached to it. These are all the classes, and I'll talk about them later, but these are classes that people can now book with me. Same thing. I don't want anyone to just be able to book these classes just by accidentally getting to my website or webpage. Because there's limited space. There's only 11 for them. So the people I want to go are the ones that are definitely going. And so that's why I made them private. I don't know, does that help a little bit, Miss Sandra, to help see why you may want some things private, some things public?
Yeah, I guess I understand. And then for like business and personal, if you have it all on the same calendar, the business people don't need to see your your personal stuff, right?
There it is.
Exactly. That's a great one. So here, remember how I had mentioned that I have a family and friend one? It's a private link because again, that's a very different setting. Like my family and friends, I'm happy to hang with them in the evening. I'm not working in the evening unless I'm doing an event. So because it has different parameters, the only people I want to have access to that are the people I'm sending them directly to.
Okay,
Great example.
That makes a lot more sense. Thank you very much.
Yes,
my
thank you,
pleasure.
Pearl. And while you're bouncing back to David, let me just point out for all my Calendly friends.
David, I'm sorry, can you go back to sharing your screen again?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
you, David. I love the fact that she can post a specific picture for that meeting. Calendly lets you have one image that represents you. And if you happen to wear several different hats, like some of us do, that's limiting. And so I love this. And this is Acuity.
This is Acuity. Mhm.
Thank you, Pearl.
My pleasure. All right. So David, I'm assuming this one is public, like you're fine with that on your general page. All right. Then you're going to, now we're not going to do this, but over here on the right where it says forms, I'm moving my mouse like I have control of your screen. Forms, let's say you needed more information. You can create forms and then specifically attach it to that service type. So let's say, David, that you needed, and we'll do this later, not right now, because we're running out of time. I just want to make sure. But yeah, so now you can, all the information you need will automatically pop, it'll pop up once they say they booked that, it'll pop up and they have to fill in all that information for you. So again, you get all of that and they booked it on your calendar without you having to do all that back and forth. So let's go ahead and hit save. No, Brandy, this is actually going to Acuity. So this isn't an add-on to Square, though you can. So if you did an add-on to Square, Square will take you to Acuity. You would create an Acuity account, and then they basically have a handshake. They talk together. So I don't know if that helps. I just happened to see that pop up.
So it's but he's setting this up in Squarespace, not on Acuity.
No, he's setting this up in Acuity. I'm answering your question of Squarespace would take you to here to set it up, and then they talk together from that moment.
Yeah, so I signed into Acuity. It's just that for some reason, because of the relationship, it shows Squarespace scheduling, but it's Acuity.
Okay, because that's where I'm reading it. Is his header says it's Squarespace scheduling.
I see what you're saying.
That's why I was wondering if it's the Acuity add-on that Squarespace now has.
Well, that might be. That might be. He may be doing the handshake as Pearl described, and that's why you see it like that. Very good, David.
Yeah. So there it is. Now David has done his first one. Now the rest of it is customization and syncing, but that was it. That was the basic. He can now send that link over or send his general link, and people can start booking him specifically for the public speaking. We've already started number one. Yes, David, did you have a question, or were you just high-fiving yourself?
Yeah, I do have a question, so you might not be answering it. So, and it's a question that you know what I have is, are we going to continue on and do like the sync with the calendars thing, or is that more?
We are, just not in front of everyone, because I want to make sure we have time for questions and answers.
Okay.
But I wanted to at least show people.
That's a big thing. So that'll be one of my questions and answers, though, not to take up everybody's time, is that this works, but if everybody's having the same issues that I have that we already kind of looked at, is like if you use one of these, everybody like sends you one of these and they say, and you make an appointment somewhere and they send you like, do you want to add this to your calendar? You say yes, and it doesn't go to the right calendar. And that
so let's actually click on number 4. So let's do that right here. Sync with other calendars. So let's.
Oh, and look, you have all the options.
Yes. So.
So
yeah, his is funky, but it should be 365, right? Because it's not Exchange, it's not Alex. I think they said, I thought you said a GoDaddy. It was, they've now made that partnership with 365.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
sure.
try 365. This is why you do pre-work.
Okay, so we don't have time to do all this. That's fine.
Well, no, we can do it really quick. Go ahead to connect to Office 365. It's just you may not want to share because it's going to ask you to log in to your account.
Right. So
So go
while
ahead and
David's
stop
working on
sharing.
that,
Yeah, stop
Yeah.
sharing, and then I'll go back to
You want
my.
to do your thing. Okay, but that's a big
Okay.
thing for a lot of people is trying to get it all.
it is a big thing, but that's the point that you want to make sure is covered, because then your calendars will sync, whether you schedule it on your Outlook or whether it's scheduled through your calendar thing.
And I will show you my syncing really quick. So here's my calendar. Give me a second. Here's my calendar. See all these appointments? These are appointments I've made on my calendar. So it's already blocked it out. So if someone's trying to make an appointment, it knows that I'm not available in these times already. And it's usually, now it's really fast. I mean, I've literally made an appointment on, say, on my Google Calendar, and about 10 seconds later, and I'm looking at this and it's showing up already on here.
Right.
So they talk to each other very fast nowadays. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And the fast is what's important, so that you don't accidentally have two things scheduled at the same time.
Yes, it's rare. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's going to be very difficult for that to happen.
Oh my God, Laura, you're reading my question. I was just about to ask this. Laura wants to know about time zones.
Yes, I saw that going on. That was my next thing. It does, you can set it up automatically. Mine, of course, being in Arizona, it's lovely, but you can set it up for it to default to their time zone. Or if you want to keep it in a specific time zone, you can do that as well. Those are setting options.
And because
and the reason I'm not showing you is because it depends on where you are in the system, where that setting will be.
Correct. In regards to the time zones, I find it best to let it sync to whatever their time zone is. And when I get the notification that they booked something on my calendar, it's not their time zone, it's my time zone. The program does the calculations in between the two. Is Acuity mobile friendly?
It is. That's the one thing it's not. Well, let me restate that. It has a mobile app. So for you as the owner of the calendar, it's very mobile friendly. As a client, it opens up their web browser on their mobile phone, but it still works well. I've been using it for 4 years. Most people, I mean, Jerice has booked with me, Scott has booked with me, David has booked with me. For the most part, from a client standpoint, it works well, but it's not as pretty. But as the owner of the calendar, yes, it's a great mobile app. In fact, I do most of my stuff on my mobile app as much as I do on my tablet, as far as sending links out and things like that.
And it will sync with your computer if your computer is online, which answers Phoenix Santa's question.
Yeah, exactly. So I have my main calendar is my Google Calendar, which you all saw. So it syncs everywhere. So if I make an appointment on my mobile phone, or someone makes their appointment, it's syncing, it's talking to all of my systems. All right.
Can I make one comment about the time zones?
Sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So what we found when we use the Calendly, we used to have it set up to whatever their time zone was, but most times that people are interacting with us, if they're booking something from a different time zone, they're booking it for when they get to Arizona, and they're thinking they're booking it in our time zone and not theirs. So depending on, like, if you're just doing virtual and they're going to be in their own time zone, then it makes sense to book it in whatever time zone you're in. But if they're booking it for when they're in your time zone, you want to make sure that it helps to have it be based on that time zone, not the one that they're in physically right now. Because we've had problems with people who are out of state booking ahead and then thinking they have a 2 o'clock, but really they have a 4 o'clock because it was 2 o'clock in a different area or whatever.
Oh, that's such a great point. That's a great point.
It's caused some headaches for us. So
yes, no, that's a great point. And a lot of systems, especially depending on your paid account, will let you be that granular. Meaning, if you have for consulting, you can set it. You can actually have that default setting be set specifically to your time zone to alleviate that. Versus, hey, we're just doing a consultation about the event, and you can have it default to their time zone, which is really lovely.
And Pearl, if I'm not mistaken, Acuity will let you do that for each appointment type whereas Calendly will not. They just have one general setting and then it's
well,
set.
I think even with Calendly, it depends on your, because they have different tiers of paid subscription. So depending on your tier, like with Calendly, the lowest tier, no text messaging, but with the two higher tiers, same thing with same thing with the QE, there's two higher tier, you can do text and email reminders. So these are, so they may have those options. You just may need to pay a little bit more to get that flexibility. David, how are you doing over there? I see thinking and stuff. Okay, we'll chat later.
I did it, but I don't think it's still doing like the same issue. It's still just putting it on my computer calendar, not my email calendar.
Okay, well, you and I just have to talk. David has his calendar, for anyone, if you're wondering, because David and I have chatted, he has his calendar through GoDaddy. Don't ever do that. He didn't get that information from me. So I'm just going to tell you right now, don't do that. Get your domain name through GoDaddy, build everything else through someone else, not even your website, because GoDaddy doesn't play well with other people. So when I'm looking, one of my biggest things is integration. Scott and I have had these conversations as well. Who plays well with the most people? That's honestly one of my main questions, because it makes your life a lot easier. GoDaddy doesn't like to play well with other people, which is also why I don't use a lot of Apple products. I don't dislike Apple products, it's just it doesn't play well with other people, right? GoDaddy is another one of those. And so you want to think about that. Now, given what you already do, I'm not going to tell you redo your website, move it somewhere else. We're just going to have to figure out workarounds to make it work for you. But these are the reasons why you talk to someone, or you don't want to do that.
And just to be fair, GoDaddy is fine for hosting, just not for calendars.
Actually, I wouldn't even build your website on GoDaddy. I would literally buy the domain from them, but I have my websites hosted on WordPress. I could host it on them. But if you do anything with GoDaddy, even hosting your website, they want a lot of the integrations or plugins don't work as well with them because they just don't play well with others. They're going to want you to do their services, their things, instead of you being able to do other plugins. So when I say that, I really mean don't. If you care about being able to use these other things in a more seamless manner. If you don't, or you want to purchase it directly from GoDaddy, go ahead and run with it.
And the same is true for Wix or any of those other website companies. Just get a WordPress. It communicates with everybody, and it's friendly with Google. And you won't even be seen sometimes if you have a Wix site on Google. So just get a WordPress.
All right, I'm going to go through this super quick because I know there's some more questions. And just so you know, if you have more questions, Scott, I already told him I'm going to stay here for a little bit long past our time. So I'm happy to answer as many questions as Scott will allow us to go through, because I know he eventually has to go. If you would like to do group work, I have just more quick learning opportunities I just wanted to offer. I do group workshops. I have 6 currently right now. It's a max of 11 people, and we do what we do, but with David. So about 20 minutes is presenting information. The rest of the time is going through the participants and setting up whatever it is. We have topics about Zoom basics. I actually have a whole workshop for this, for moving your calendar online. And this is a way to get that done in a group study. It's $30 per participant, and Scott's going to drop the link, but you can sign up for it right now. Drop the link. I think the moving calendar online in about a month.
I'll take care of that for you right now.
Thank you. And then if you want to do a one-on-one session, you can. You have 2 options: 30-minute option, which is 55, 60-minute options 100. Yes, I know I'm going through this quickly. I just want to get to questions or more questions. And then as a bonus, if you schedule any time with me in the next 2 weeks, 15-minute session just to talk about your space. This has nothing to do with what we talked about, but as a business owner, you want to make sure your Zoom space is well. So we'll talk about lighting. Apparently, I don't want to talk about lighting. We'll talk about lighting, sound in your background. And then this is just for EE, meaning this is not a service I'm providing to the public at all, because I love you all, but I don't love necessarily the public this much. But I love EE and all of you here. So if you would prefer that I did it for you, you can do a one-time setup bonus service. It would be $250. David just got happy. I just saw like pure joy. And I would set it for you. So we would talk about the best system for you. Then I would actually do all the setup for you. We talk about the different appointment types. I would create them for you, test it out, make sure it works the way it's supposed to work, and then hand it over to you. And then and that's a max of 10 people. So the first 10 people that sign up, like this isn't for everyone, so max 10 people have that option. Same thing with this. I call this the health and wellness maintenance plan. This is, hey, it's been 2 months. I have a new appointment that I need to add. I don't remember how to do it, or something changed and I don't know what's going on. This gives you up to 4 hours throughout the year, 30 to 60-minute time blocks. But that if you have any questions, have any issues, you need some help, like I said, it's a health and wellness maintenance plan, and that's $1,000. And again, it's limited to the first 10 people that sign up.
Peace of
Now,
mind.
questions and Calendly.
Okay, so Linda has 2 webinars going on at the same time in the same time slot. Can she run both of these through Acuity, even though they occupy the same space and time?
Okay, Linda, can you pop on and ask that question?
I'm here.
Because I don't translate well.
Okay, so a lot of times what I do, I listen to a lot of webinars, since of course a lot of, kind of slow. And many times I have 2, 3, and sometimes 4 webinars scheduled at the same time. And truth be told, I actually have different screens running the different webinars. But in Acuity, in the calendar, does it allow for several things to be scheduled at the same time, or does it only allow for one thing in that time slot?
So think of it separately. Acuity is your booking system. What's your calendar? Do you use Google? What's your actual calendar right now? Where do you put in your book? Huh?
iCalendar.
Okay, so iCalendar is your calendar. So as long as you put all of those into your iCalendar, it'll show up on Acuity that you just don't have the time, because you're not booking through Acuity. Booking is for other people. So if I wanted to book your time. So Acuity is a booking system that's talking to your calendar to help manage your calendar for you in an organized, automated way.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Any other questions? Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, because I know we literally went down to the minute here, but thank you so much. I hope this is helpful for you. And I'm hoping Scott has dropped in my contact information if you want to reach out to me for any of these options. This will recorded, and I will also send my deck to Scott to be able to give that to the team as well. So because I just ran through all of those options very quickly. You are muted, Mr. Scott. So you sound fantastic.
Thank you, because my phone was ringing and I didn't want to. Anyway, in regards to having somebody set this up for you, you're a great planner, you're a great caterer, you're a great DJ, whatever it is that you do, it doesn't necessarily mean that you must be proficient at this particular piece of your business. Having somebody set it up for you, if you're pretty much standard, that you know what your calendar is, what times you're available, and it's not changing all the time, have somebody set it up for you. And then boom, you're free to do what you do best, which is not this.
And again, and if you want to have that, but you want to learn, join in the workshop. That's a way to get that done where you're doing, but you also have someone here to help walk you through it.
Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to bounce you out so that I could have full screen for everybody so they could see you. The idea about workshop versus seminar. Let me tell you how this is done, and let me talk to you, and let me show you. What a workshop. Okay, everybody open up your Acuity and let's go step by step, and you actually create something in that moment. Very, very different experience and way more valuable from my personal estimation.
Thank you so much, Scott. Are there any other questions, comments that we haven't covered yet?
You got lots of accolades in here. They love you.
Oh, well, thank you, everyone. I haven't opened up chat since I started, so I don't get distracted.
Okay, I'll save it for you and share it so you can see how much they appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
let's see, another one, awesome, Pearl. Boy, I can't believe there are not more questions because this is really a deep topic. All right.
Laura,
Okay,
Rainey,
I got a quick
One of
question.
the workshops.
Okay, Laura, you're next. Go ahead. What, Therese?
Go ahead, Therese.
Therese, did you have a question or were you just commenting?
I was just going to comment that maybe they're just going to sign up for one of the workshops and then they'll get their questions answered that way.
That's smart. You're next, Sean. Laura, go ahead.
I put it in the chat, but I understand the blocking out like 10 or 15 minutes between appointments, but what if some of them require traveling time? So you wouldn't, if you set it up with a standard of like 15 minutes, but some of your appointments had a 45-minute drive, do you just have to manually change those for each appointment?
so if someone booked you and you realize, oh, I need to drive,
Yeah.
then yeah. So I actually, you know what? I'm going to share my screen and show you my calendar because I actually have one of those. So it's not an appointment, but right here, because I help with one of the Chick-fil-A's. So I've actually put on my calendar, once I put that appointment in there, I build in drive time so that now I don't get booked so I can't drive as well.
So one of the things I do too with Calendly is each individual event can have different buffer levels. So if it's a store appointment, somebody's going to be there, they're not driving, those don't need the same buffer time as something that is an appointment that has to be driving. Those appointments have different buffers and rules.
Yes. Yeah, and so it depends on how you're looking at it. Because remember, you've got your calendar, just like we were talking with Linda, and you have your booking system. So QD is your or Calendly is your out facing to the public. Here's how you can put time on my calendar. So, Laura, the way I took your example is, oh, wow, I just realized I have a 45-minute drive because someone booked this time. Then you just block your calendar to account for that. Whereas Felicia's example was, oh, okay, they don't realize they're going to need this amount of time to get to the store or to do this. So let's make sure we give them, or we need to have that additional buffer because of this specific thing that they just booked with us. So let's just automatically build that into our buffer zone.
One of the nice things about the calendars syncing is that you can have appointment options that are in your Acuity or your Calendly, but if you go to your regular Google Calendar, which is where you're using scheduling appointments, or your Outlook, whatever it is that you're using, if you block something in there that says I'm going to be doing this event and it takes this amount of time, then it automatically tells whatever system you're using that you're not available during that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Sandra.
Okay, I noticed that when you were talking about the different options or whatever, that you actually charge for a time to do a one-on-one with you or different things, or was that specifically for, because you're talking about a specific thing like Acuity or whatever?
The one-on-ones are specific classes. So one-on-one class versus a group workshop class. Mm-hmm. I have a list of 26 classes. So I currently have 6 workshops, but you can talk to me about using Google systems, setting up Google systems, using Google Suites, personal brand. So I have a list of 24, I counted them last night, 24 classes. And so when I said one-on-one specifically, that was what that is. If you just wanted to chat with me, I have a get to know, I have my normal FaceTime meet. Brandy shaking her head, yes, we chat all the time. I chat with Therese. I don't charge for that. This was specific as one-on-one class versus a group class.
Got it. Okay, because I was figuring, questioning whether that made sense for any of us to kind of do the same thing. And I appreciate the difference. Thank you.
As a matter of fact, for Phoenix Santa, who I know is Stephanie, but she says Phoenix Santa, she was totally overwhelmed and said, oh my God, this is too much. And I replied, baby steps. And that's essentially how I started using Calendly, was just for scheduling FaceTime. So you start with that one piece of your business, and then you can slowly expand as you get familiar with the system.
Yeah, and Stephanie, when I started, I had 2 things maybe that I did. I mean, you're seeing it now, but this is 4+ years in that they have started to grow. That's not where it started at all. It was just client consultation and vendor review. Those are the 2 first appointments that I created and started. And then as I liked it more and more, I started adding more things.
But I don't have those types of appointments. So we are a holiday entertainment company. So I schedule home visits. So if I'm going from one home to the next, there's going to be various drive times. I live in Gilbert. So if I have to drive to Northwest Phoenix, it's going to be an hour. Depending on the time of day, it could be up to 2 hours. So how do I schedule those types of things where the public is putting in those requests as opposed to calling me and saying, I want a 9 o'clock appointment, but I'm going to take 2 hours while I already have a 10 o'clock, so I can't be there till 11. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I do that automated? It doesn't seem like it would be
actually
beneficial to me.
So here's how you would do that. Great question. I would put in an hour buffer front and back. What that really does is someone can't schedule you for another 2 hours after that appointment because you've done an hour buffer front and back. Meaning, here's what I mean. That means for them to be able to book you, there has to be a 2 hour gap between the last appointment and the next appointment available, because you said, I don't want someone to book me an hour after this appointment. And for the appointment they're trying to book, I don't want them to book me an hour before this appointment. So you've now automatically built in a 2 hour buffer zone into your gap. So even with traffic, and then you just put it in there, it's great for you because I'm sure you want information. Here's what I need. You now automate that process for yourself. And we can talk a little bit more, but you now automated that process for yourself so people can book you that way. But you just go ahead.
Yeah, I like the forms idea because there is very specific. How many children? What are their ages? What are their names? Because Santa has to know the children's names when he walks in the door. Right. We want to know, specific things. Do you want us to bring a present? Do you not want presents? Do you want us to open presents? Do you want us to have tea? Do you want us to, eat cookies? Whatever, all the specific details. So I like the forms idea. I just didn't know about the timeline because it's so fluctual. Like it's kind of a fluid thing that we do. Our appointments aren't necessarily concrete.
Yeah, but all of us are like that, truthfully. Mine is like that as well. But here's the thing, it's talking back to your calendar that you're putting these on. And it's not as if, for the most part, it's not as if someone's booking and then 10 other people are necessarily trying to do it at the exact same time as well. So you typically have time by the time someone's booked and it shows up in your calendar. If you needed to block more time than what's already been blocked on your calendar, you can go ahead and do that already as well. So let me show you when I'm talking about buffers. This is what I mean. So you can physically see it.
Hey, Pearl, when you're done with Phoenix Santa, Sean has had a question for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
No worries. So here's my calendar for this week.
Okay.
All right. Are we in this week? Let me make it bigger. Okay. This is next week. So Wendy apparently just scheduled a meetup.
Way to go, Wendy.
Yay.
I just saw that. Okay, see this right here? Stephanie, you see where my mouse is? That's the buffer.
Okay.
So even though it doesn't show up on my actual calendar, someone else tries to make an appointment, it won't let in this space anymore because those are my 30-minute buffers between them. If this is an appointment on my calendar that's showing up in Acuity, so it knows that I'm not available, but let's say someone had made another appointment here, you would have seen another buffer of 30 minutes. So now technically I have an hour buffer between those appointments. So what I'm saying is if you've created an hour buffer front and back on your appointments, you're essentially creating a 2 hour buffer for yourself already, which will cover most of your traffic fluidity. And then if you need to make a change, as you shift that, it's going to update it into your system. I don't know. Helps a little bit more.
Yeah, so then I could essentially call the customer and say, I mean, if it's only going to be a 15-minute drive to get from one house to the next, I can essentially call my customer and say, are you available at this time? Is that what you normally do? Or
I could, but no, I pretty much. So when you say, are you available?
My business, I think that if I'm going to give myself that 2 hour buffer, I've essentially took out potentially 3 other home visits.
Yeah, but you do have control of that. So if someone calls you and says, oh, I tried to book and you weren't available, you're like, oh yeah, no, I can make it because I have that time. Then you just put it onto your calendar. You override the system.
Okay.
So you still have that flexibility.
Question. Okay, I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. So you still control that. This is the automated way, because if they want to, they're gonna call like, I tried to book, or it doesn't look like you're available. Oh yeah, we are, because that you have put in your buffer, so they can't do it automatically, but you have that time as, oh, this appointment, I only need 15 minutes versus the hour that I normally say I need.
Okay, I see. All right.
Okay,
thank you.
Stephanie, I'm going to go old school on you real quick.
No, I'm done.
No, you're good. I'm going to go old school on you real quick, and I'm going to jump over to Sean. Thank you for your patience, sir. When we used to do, before the dark times, when we met in person, instead of driving to different Starbucks and different Panera Breads and different places to meet with people, like you're meeting with them at their home, I would just meet with them at one place. And so I didn't have to move. They came to me.
No,
so
maybe
you
you're
need to
misunderstanding
preview the property?
No, I think you're misunderstanding what I mean by home visits. I don't go and discuss anything at a home visit. That's when Santa comes to their home to do the actual event.
So you're talking about the actual event.
Yeah,
so
the Santa going to the home.
Okay, yeah. I will shut up. Never mind. No. Sean, what's on?
Stephanie, something I would suggest for you would be to do them in zones, so that you have like this particular part of the valley at a particular time. And so they pick their zones, and you can limit the buffer time and the drive time to only like 15-30 minutes. But if they're in this zone, they can pick anything in this window, and then it gives you travel time to go to
right. And I do that. I'm a police officer by my day job, so I do know how to navigate the highway system and the freeway. So I do plan them according to like a dot map to make a circle to come back to my home. So yes, I think that's what you're talking about. So I do already implement that. So thank you.
Well, yeah, just that you can, if they're self-booking and you're not the one who's like planning, plotting them around, like say this part of the day is the East Valley, and then the next part is like North and West and then South. And so that they're self-selecting into those time zones, but like by the time of day.
Did you see the light go on?
Yeah, it's like, that's a great suggestion, Felicia. I was like, no, you can actually set that up into the system.
Yeah, that would be the easier thing, instead of letting them pick, going from Queen Creek to Avondale back to Gilbert, and that way, like,
giving
that's
them my
we're gonna be in this part of town from 10 to 2.
Thank you.
That's something you could do.
Okay,
and we spent this time because everybody who's being quiet and listening is in the same boat. So thank you, Stephanie. We appreciate it. Sean, you're on. Quick,
thank you.
Run.
Thank you, Pearl, for the lesson here today. And I appreciate what you guys just finally chimed in on about taking baby steps into using this thing on a real basic level. I'm working on a new contact booking page for my website, an inquiry and booking form and payment form for all on one page, like a landing page. So my question is this: you mentioned Google Calendar, and there's some options there for to turn it into a booking system, right? There's some appointment.
But I'm biased. I'm going to open up with that disclaimer. I am biased. I would not do the add-ons to Google. I would just get one of the other booking systems that work with it.
Okay, thank you.
But if you want that, I will walk you through it, and I will try very hard not to be biased when we talk about it. But I thought I would at least be full disclosure and say, when I was doing my research, I didn't even know that existed until I was researching it for this presentation to make sure I still had most recent information. That's when I learned about it, and it's good. But your business, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to outgrow that so quickly that you might as well just get a booking system and start simply and then grow into it.
Sure, great. Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Any other questions? Thank you, everyone, for staying
You did
on.
really good, Pearl. I mean, wow, this was really thoroughly entertaining and informative and thought-provoking for those who are not yet using a calendar and are ready to make the move online, which, by the way, I highly recommend. So thank you very much, Pearl, for sharing your, can I say it?
Yes.
Pearls of wisdom. She is a great resource for all things digital that you need to know, whether it's one-on-one or in a group setting, or even for your team if you have, you know, employees or staff that need to learn how to use this technology to best benefit your business. And with that, again, a big thank you to Pearl.
Thank you. It
Thank
was
you,
my
Pearl.
pleasure.